All right. So, the going through currently another office remodel. Boom. It looks probably like crap mainly because I'm pretty lazy and I've neglected to do any actual resorting, but I've fixed my bookshelf, as you can probably see right there. Give me 1 second, I'll kind of manipulate you. We turn on the light because the natural light from outside isn't wanting to cooperate. My bookshelf, all my doodads, my armor corner, which my armor stand needs to be reacquainted with my armor. My little pet area, which needs attention. Redid and reorganized all my fabric storage, except for a few other fabric bits that are just lying around. And this is our new pet, Desmond. He's a little leopard gecko, and he's just right inside there. Isn't he cute? But anyways, so what you're going to see in this video is me dyeing some fabric so I can make a nice pair of roost pants, which are these stripedy things hanging on this hanger, which that's extra storage for projects that I'm working on. But yeah, we're going to dye some fabric, and they're going to be a black and green roost pants for a friend. And I'm going to try to make this into a series and put it up on YouTube, and hopefully it comes out in working order. This is the black fabric. It didn't come out. This one's a bit blacker-ish. It didn't come out 100% great, which means I might take and dye this a second time, but overall I don't think it's too bad. Yeah, you can kind of see some of the splotching where the dye dried weird on this. But yeah, that's going to be part of the fabric right there. I'm also going to do some tutorials on making some split hose and things like that. I'm going to show you some modifications that I'm going to make to my favorite pour point, as well as some period accurate ways that you can hack modernly, namely like some are like going to be making shoes and stuff. But yeah, the core of this video is going to be showing you my dyeing process and stuff like that. Put that hook back up there, so that way you guys can kind of get an idea of the dyeing and stuff. I'm also probably going to redo my shields, that one and the one that's currently under my gamzin. I know some people don't like that, but my a keton, let's call it that, as well as just some basic stuff, and I might be doing some SCA related fighting videos and things like that. But yeah, enjoy the video, and just preemptively gonna ask you to like, subscribe, comment, hit that little belly icon. Belly, either or icon, to just get notifications and stuff like that. All right, so let's get on to it. Okay, now it's recording. I just went into a long explanation about how I did this, and I wasn't recording. So yeah, there's that. So my beautiful bathroom, my shower tub, and a batch of fabric, which I'm currently dyeing. That can't really tell, but I'm dyeing a hunter's green, or dark green in general, and it just got all over my half mat, but oh well. So I'm using the RIT dye, and the reason why I'm dyeing the fabric is I found that ordering just plain white fabric is oftentimes cheaper, and you don't have to worry as much about the price, because if I order fabric myself, and it's easier to customize the shade and the depth of the color than buying a color lot or dyed batch from the distributor, because sometimes the pictures are slightly misleading. The colors will sometimes either be lighter or darker than they are on the pictures on the website. It's been in here, the directions say to have it in here for about an hour, have it on a very warm, which I don't know if you can see the steam in that or not, but it's to keep a very warm water, the warmest water or hottest water that the fabric can handle. I just wanted to dye in fabric, doing the medieval things. Okay, so I'm going to do an aerial view of me mixing the fabric. So I'm going to do it one-handed, which is probably stupid, while my other hand holds the selfie stick holding my phone. So if there's like a set of cutout in the video or something like that, or you hear me scream, it's probably because I've just barely lost my phone to the dye vat. So let's go ahead and just take a look inside. So as you can see, just dyeing fabric. I mean, there's nothing really particularly special about it, just mixing it around. From my angle, you can definitely see the steam rising, and the vat I'm using is just a recycling tub from like Home Depot. I used a full bottle of right dye to get the most deepest, vibrant green ever, but that's still going to wash out with successive washes and things like that, even with the color stay fixative that will be applied at the end of the dye bath. So basically it's just going to be me coming in and out of my bathroom to do this. Yeah, so that's basically it. A lot of people who are going to watch this are going to find it quite boring, and some people might find it actually somewhat enlightening. There is recommendations for with the natural, for the natural use. Sometimes they recommend like or at least online, sometimes they recommend things like using salt and or vinegar, depending on if it's a natural or a artificial. I think the vinegar is sometimes recommended for the natural and salt's recommended for the artificial, so don't quote me on that, I'm not an expert. But yeah, basically that's what this is just giving it, disturbing it, making sure that it doesn't rest. I have used a different type of dye before that used pellets, and I didn't like it. It didn't dye right. What happened, what I noticed that happened was if the pellets didn't dissolve completely, and I think this is what happened, if the pellets don't dissolve completely, it will leave darker patches, and it kind of tie-dyes the fabric, but it's a darker color. Does that make sense? But yeah, it's the same color but slightly darker. So yeah, I personally like the regular, almost lost it, the regular right dye. Yeah. Eventually I do hope to do like a what's the word? Plant dye. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, yeah. Sorry, the music in the background is kind of loud. Hi again. So, oh, I looked crazy when I said that. Hi again, guys. Okay, we'll consider that the blooper. So, the hour for the dye vat is up, and now we're going to put it into this blue tub, which currently just has water in it. And then I'm going to put in the color stay fixative. I typically use half and half regardless of the amount of dye I use on the fabric. Since I used a full batch of dye, on most of them, and I've had no problems yet. So far. So far, I have no problems yet. But that's also typically because I don't wash the clothes normally. I normally, if they get dirty or dirt or mud on them, I brush them off. I spray them with a 1-in-1 mixture of the normally vodka, which is basically close enough to pure alcohol to work, and water. And I also use things like fabric refresheners and stuff like that. And if they get really bad, I'll wash them by hand cold, and then tumble dry them or indirect heat dry them using like a that thing you blow on your hair dryer. That's what I'm looking for. Or even optionally, if it's a nice sunny day, putting them out in the sunlight, which that typically tends to fade the color of the fabric, but I feel it does less damage to the fiber itself than like putting them in a washer and then putting them in a hot dryer would. I do, however, after the dye vat and the color stays put on them, I put them into the dryer to dry so the colors lock in. But the whole process is now I'm going to put it in the dye vat for an hour, and I've got the hottest temperature water I can get out of the faucet. Normally I boil water, but I just normally only do that for the dye vat itself because it helps the colors lock in better. But yeah, so first things first, I'm going to take the fabric using my Helpy hand stick, and I'm going to move it from one side to the other. I don't think I'll be able to get as good a view. So what I'm going to do here is from behind the camera in a pseudo first person view from around like my belly button height, I'm going to take and pull them out with the stick here and then transfer them over to this. So I'm also going to go over, and I don't know if you can see, but this water is clear. Okay, you can kind of see that, and that water is not. So yeah, hopefully that helps out. And I'm moving it from the black tub to the blue tub for the second step in a 3-part dyeing process. Okay, so, and I'm not going to hold the camera because it's just going to be more of a pain, in my opinion, to do so. And I'm going to try to scoot this forward enough to where I can safely reach the fabric without being too overextended. Okay, so, and I have, it's like 2 yards of fabric plus like some minor scrap fabric. So it gets heavy. Just kind of dip them in little by little. I'm also not, I think I have some pairs of gloves, but I can't find them, so. Yeah, and that's actually probably the easiest process right now was to do that. So yeah, I think I got all the fabric done, but all right. And disposal's typically pretty easy. This gets flushed down the drain, and then of course I'm also going to have to rinse out because you probably can't see it from this angle, but there's like dye and stuff everywhere. So yeah, that's that. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next part. The alarm for my 1 hour timer went off, and now we're going to do is we're going to rinse it, and then I'm going to toss it in the dryer so the color can set. So the rinsing part's pretty easy. You probably won't hear much once I turn on the actual faucet head and start rinsing the actual fabric. But it's pretty simple. I don't really have a particular temperature of the water that I use to rinse, but I'm going to rinse it cold this time to see if I can't shock the fibers into tightening before I dry it, because I feel like some science is there that will help lock in the color better. Even though I have the color stay fixed, I gotta move because I haven't emptied either of the vats yet. So first things first is getting the fabric out of it, and then rinsing the fabric. I probably should have emptied the vats first, just because. Let's see if I can't give you a better, or I might just have to pause this and then, yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and pause it and then move the camera. That way this is more of a continuous just stream of video. There's gonna be a jump cut, so don't be alarmed. So basically just gonna toss it under the faucet. I'm gonna set the faucet to cold, and yeah, we're gonna do it like that. So yeah, let's do this. So it's simple. Here we got on my right is the dye vat, or the dye sealing vat, we'll call it that, and gonna lift out the fabric and kind of just plop it over. Now it's incredibly dark right now, but the issue is after the rinse and after it dries, it's going to lose a good amount of color. And that's just going to happen. So I'm going to turn on the water, and you're probably not going to hear me unless I get really close to the camera like this and talk very loud like that. So set it all the way over to cold, and then up. And it's going to take a minute. But yeah, essentially this is just rinsing the water. I'm going to use a stick because reaching over is going to be a problem for me. But yeah, I just want to make sure it gets cold enough, or rinsed out enough. And I could also, if I wanted to do it a bit more, even more modernly than what this is, hold the camera. What I could do is also take and put it in the washing machine, and that would probably do some good work on it. When I'm doing it like this, I'll let the water get in this a little bit. And put it in the washing machine and achieve somewhat of a similar effect, but as I said, I don't really like doing that. And the other reason I'm using cold water instead of hot is since it's already been in 2 dye vats of hot water, I'm worried that putting it through more hot water is going to kind of screw up the structural integrity of the linen, which over time it will become threadbare. That's just something that happens, especially with pants. It's kind of unavoidable in all honesty. There. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do, and I'll probably show it to you as I cut this video again, and everything. But what we're going to do next is we are going to drain it. So yeah, okay, see you here in a minute. Okay, so we're going to strain it, and I mean, it's kind of easy. It's just like wringing out a towel. Let me grab the smaller remnant piece. actually, by looking at this, I can tell that it's already lost most of the color in the water, because the water is no longer green or green adjacent. Yeah, I'm not going to get all the water out. I unfortunately am not strong enough to strain it completely dry, and I would not like to meet the person who is capable of such a feat. But yeah, overall, I mean, I don't know if you can see the color. This looks almost as black as my tank top, but overall, I like the way this is looking so far. I'm probably going to get a couple shades lighter when I throw it in the dryer, which I'll show you here in a minute. So this is the end of basically step 3 of this process, and not terrible. It's not hard. It's just time consuming, and yeah, just time consuming. So yeah, be back. So this next step's a little bit easy. I mean, it's very easy. So I set my dilly to 80 for that's the longest amount of time I can go, because I want to get this fabric as dry as I possibly can. And I lost myself there for a minute. But anyways, basically I'm going to take the fabric and I'm gonna unwind it. I left it kind of, there we go. Boom. Take my fabric, tuck it in the dryer, loose dryer pants, obviously. Make sure you have everything out of the dryer, because there's still a chance that the residual dye from the fabric can discolor your clothes, which will not be a good thing. But yeah, just huck it in there, shut the door. I don't normally put dryer sheets in there. I was like, oh, I should put a dryer sheet in there. It's like, this isn't regular laundry though, Lawrence. And then boop, 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 bam, hit that button. Reference to liking, subscribing, and things like that. But yeah, and then that's it. And once it's done, I will show you the final product. That glare on my forehead. Oh, it's terrible. Now I look like a creep in the dark. But yeah, that's basically it. Is just throwing it in the dryer and just letting it dry. And then I'll show you the finished product once I'm done drying it, and then I'll probably in another set of video will show you the making of the Viking Roost pants. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this one. See you in a bit. All right, so it's done. Take a look. It's definitely greener, or it's more noticeably green on the camera. That's all of it. Let's go into my office where the table is. Ba-boom. That actually looks really nice. There's not, it's all dry. I'm not seeing any dark patches anywhere. So yeah, this is actually pretty good. Next to the black, yeah, I might go ahead and re-dye the black at some point. Probably a week after next, on my next day off. Oh, but overall, I like the way this looks, and I think my friend will be very happy with his two-tone quarter roost pants. So yeah, all right. Thank you for watching. As I mentioned in the intro, I'm going to do extra videos and things like that, and kind of go more into depth about a few things and do some tutorialages, as it were, and stuff like that. So yeah, thank you for joining me this time, and I hope to see you in the next one.